The monthly family brunch was about to begin at the Reynolds mansion in the quiet residential area of Chestnut Hill. In the classical-style living room, antique dinnerware inherited from grandmother was laid out, and the morning sunlight elegantly illuminated the silver teapot through the windows. "Oh, Maggie. That plain dress again? You could get something more proper at Brooks Brothers," Patricia, her older sister, said while elegantly adjusting her Hermes scarf at her neck, looking Margaret up and down as if appraising her value. Margaret was dressed modestly in a light beige linen dress with her grandmother's heirloom Tiffany pearl necklace. For her work at an investment firm on Newbury Street, this was more than adequate. "This is perfectly fine, Patty. My job doesn't require flashy clothes," Margaret replied with a quiet smile. Everyone in the family thought that with her $60,000 annual salary as an investment advisor at an office along State Street, she wasn't suited for the flashy lifestyle like her sisters. As Maggie reached for a croissant on the table, she noticed her sister's new Cartier watch glinting in the morning light. "Oh, just look at Patty's new watch," their mother Helen chimed in proudly, speaking with the distinctive inflection of an upper-class lady while her pearl earrings sparkled. "She had outstanding sales results last month. As a luxury real estate broker, she's making $150,000 a year now." At the recent charity event, everyone was talking about her. Robert, their father, proudly watched his eldest daughter's success while pouring specially ordered California wine. For him, a former middle management executive, Patricia's flashy success felt like a victory in his own life. He secretly delighted in having another topic to boast about to his weekend golfing companions. "Speaking of which, did you see Patty's Instagram?" Their mother changed the subject. "That new Range Rover she got delivered last week was lovely. That champagne gold color really suits our social status." Maggie paused briefly with her fork. Her sister's social media was filled with daily posts of luxury brand bags, meals at first-class restaurants like Mistral and Mama Maria, and photos from overseas trips. The envious comments from followers seemed to satisfy her sister's ego. "Oh yes," Patricia cheerfully joined in. "Why don't we all go to Hawaii? I'll arrange the flights. I found this wonderful resort. The sunset view from the pool is absolutely magnificent." Their parents immediately showed their approval. Maggie quietly nodded. Her sister continued proudly. "Leave the reservations to me. I'll prepare a special surprise for everyone. I'll show you my negotiation skills." Light family conversation echoed through the living room of the luxury residential area. The glamorous sister and the plain sister. The superficial difference was obvious to everyone's eyes. The airport departure lobby was wrapped in Saturday morning bustle. The morning sun streaming through the large glass windows brightly illuminated the luxury brand shop windows. From the arrival floor, travelers could be seen pushing carts loaded with Louis Vuitton trunks. A champagne gold Range Rover smoothly pulled into the airport's luxury vehicle lane. Patricia stepped out first, raising her sunglasses while beckoning to a porter. Her husband James followed. Rimowa aluminum suitcases and Gucci garment bags were loaded onto the cart one after another. "When it comes to Hawaii, it has to be the Four Seasons," Patricia said. I've already reserved the poolside cabana. That's our Patty, Mother Helen nodded in agreement. But oh my, where's Maggie? She's not here yet? Her mother's voice carried its usual tone of contempt. Just then, a yellow cab stopped in the general lane. Maggie stepped out. Good morning, everyone. Sorry to keep you waiting. Maggie greeted them calmly. Until she received the airline ticket her sister had arranged, her expression remained as peaceful as a still lake. The fresh morning breeze gently stirred her grandmother's heirloom shawl draped over her shoulders. This way, please. Patricia started walking toward the counter. Passing by the general counter where business travelers in sharp suits lined up, they were guided to the VIP lane. Flight attendants with gold badges on their uniform collars bowed politely. Ms. Reynolds and family, a young flight attendant greeted with a smile. We'll take care of your luggage here. Patricia proudly checked in her luxury suitcases one after another. Here's your boarding pass, she said with a meaningful smile while handing Maggie an economy class ticket. Meanwhile, she had business class tickets for herself, their parents, and her husband. The ground staff in blue jackets watched with seemingly confused expressions. Maggie stared at the boarding pass. A middle seat in the last row. The most unpopular seat, far from both window and aisle. Definitely not comfortable. It was clearly her sister's calculated harassment. Is this a mistake? Maggie's voice remained calm as ever. Her attitude was the same whether dealing with luxury boutique staff or taxi drivers. That was what irritated her sister most of all. You're poor, aren't you? I'm helping you save money. Patricia said with a malicious smile, loud enough for nearby passengers to hear. Now, be grateful for Patty's thoughtfulness, their father said soothingly, in the condescending tone typical of a luxury golf club member. Their mother smiled awkwardly and added with a superior air. You'll get to the same destination even in economy. Besides, this is appropriate for your salary, while gracefully moving her wrist adorned with a Tiffany bracelet. Surrounding passengers watched this family conversation with interest. The sister's family in Chanel suits versus the modestly dressed sister. The contrast drew attention from those around them. A family with children whispered something among themselves. However, Maggie's expression didn't change at all. If anything, she wore a slight smile. Years of experience had taught her perfect self-control. She had handled tough negotiations in board meetings with this same expression. We will now begin pre-boarding. As the announcement played, suddenly a senior flight attendant with a gold badge approached Maggie. Standing straight, with the highest level of customer service manner. Ms. Reynolds, I sincerely apologize. Could I have a moment of your time? Patricia's smug expression momentarily stiffened. Is there a problem? Patricia frowned. With my sister's reservation. The flight attendant began checking the system respectfully. Peering at the information on the screen, muttering something very quietly while reviewing the screen multiple times. The whole family watched anxiously. Other passengers in line at the service counter also showed interest in this sudden development. Ms. Reynolds. The flight attendant suddenly bowed deeply to Maggie. The gesture carried special respect reserved for the highest class customers. I sincerely apologize. Today we will escort you to first class. The family fell silent. The color drained from Patricia's face. Mother Helen took a small breath, and Father Robert stood with his mouth open in confusion. What? There must be some mistake? Her sister's voice trembled. The perfectly planned display of superiority was crumbling audibly. No, this is per system instructions. Board members are automatically upgraded. Maggie smiled quietly. She felt a kind of liberation in having her 5-year secret revealed in this way. Thank you very much. Those words carried the weight of 5 years of silence. Businesspeople in luxury suits nodded to her. Maggie walked toward the first-class lounge with elegant steps. Behind her stood her family, dumbfounded. Senior flight attendant Jennifer bowed respectfully while welcoming Maggie. The moment she stepped into the cabin, the atmosphere changed. Subdued lighting and sophisticated interiors reminiscent of a luxury hotel suite. Thick carpeting covered the floor, absorbing even footsteps. The fully enclosed suite was like a flying study. The cream-colored leather seats were soft to the touch, and champagne was already chilling on the natural wood table. Abstract paintings adorned the walls, the lighting was adjustable. Fresh flowers were arranged by the window. Patricia and the others boarded. Unable to hide their surprise and confusion, they passed by Maggie. Their backs showed bewilderment they had never shown before. Here is your in-flight menu. The thick leather-bound menu listed dishes supervised by Michelin-starred chefs. Luxurious items using caviar, foie gras, and truffles. The wine list featured Grand Cru labels. A senior flight attendant with sommelier qualifications began explaining carefully. Maggie smiled and chose a Bordeaux red. Outside the window spread a blue sky. Above the clouds, the pretense of hierarchy on the ground and materialistic values held no meaning. Maggie quietly reclined her seat and closed her eyes. In her mind, preparations for true dialogue with her family were steadily progressing. She remembered her sister's words, "You're poor, aren't you?" Ironically, at that moment, she held an airline ticket worth more than 20 times her sister's annual salary. In her seat transformed to lounge mode, Maggie checked her emails using the in-flight Wi-Fi. Messages from airline CEOs worldwide sought her urgent decisions. She responded to each one carefully. This was the work of a true power player, completely different from her facade of humility. The cabin gradually quieted as many passengers fell asleep. However, her family's eyes in business class remained wide awake. Beyond the curtain separating Maggie's suite, they still couldn't accept reality. The VIP lounge at Honolulu Airport gleamed in the Hawaiian morning sun. Elegant tropical plants accented the luxury mahogany interior. Large glass windows offered a panoramic view of the emerald green ocean. "Ms. Reynolds, shall we call your family?" Ground staff Mary asked Maggie politely. At the windowside private booth, Maggie quietly nodded. Led by Patricia, the family entered the lounge one after another. Even business class seemed out of place in such luxury. Mother Helen caught her breath, and Father Robert looked around uneasily. "Let's sit down," Maggie quietly suggested. Staff immediately prepared champagne and brought out an arrangement of tropical fruits. "Maggie, what is all this?" Patricia's voice trembled. "I'll tell you everything." Maggie exhaled deeply and began tracing her memory from 5 years ago. "Do you remember during the pandemic in 2020? The airline industry was in crisis then. As an investment advisor, I became involved in the restructuring plans for the 3 major airlines." The family's expressions gradually changed. "At that time, my proposed rescue plan was adopted. And in recognition of that achievement, I was appointed as an outside director for the 3 major airlines." Silence fell. Patricia's fork dropped, making a small sound. Why did you keep quiet?" Her sister's voice showed deep confusion rather than anger. "I can't believe it." Father leaned back deeply in his chair. "But your apartment." "Living modestly was my choice," Maggie continued calmly. "I own a penthouse in the Back Bay area too. But I didn't feel the need to live there." "Why?" Mother asked, barely getting the words out. "You could have lived more appropriately." Maggie gazed at the ocean spreading outside the window and began speaking quietly. "It saddened me to see family judging people by money and status. Patty, your boastful social media posts. Mom's social circle pretenses. Dad's golf club relationships. It all seemed superficial." Tears rolled down her cheeks. But her voice remained strong and dignified. "I wanted to be evaluated on my own merit. Not by family backing or superficial luxury. I think I've proven that over these 5 years." The quiet bossa nova playing in the lounge slightly eased the heavy atmosphere. "In the boardroom, no one cares about my family background or appearance. Only the content of my proposals matters." That was the world I was seeking. Tears slowly fell from Patricia's eyes. We've been looking down on you all this time. Especially me." Mother covered her face with her hands, and Father kept staring out the window. The family's long-held values were crumbling audibly. "But things will be different now." Maggie looked at each family member's face. "It's never too late to realize true value." The morning sun rose higher, brightening the lounge. The light seemed to signal the beginning of new family relationships. "Actually, I have a villa here," Maggie smiled, showing a rare hint of shyness. "We're planning to stay there during this trip. All of us, of course." Patricia let out a small laugh. "It's probably nicer than the hotel I booked, isn't it?" It was a typical sister's joke. But her voice no longer had its former edge. "Let's begin our new family story." Maggie stood up and extended her hand to her family. This time, looking at true value. Christmas Eve night. Warm lights glowed in the top-floor penthouse on Marlborough Street in Boston's Back Bay district. Through the floor-to-ceiling windows, the winter stars reflected on the Charles River were visible. Maggie, don't you think this tree needs more decorations? Patricia said, looking up at the 12-foot pine tree. Her tone wasn't demanding like before, but a gentle suggestion to her sister. In her arms was a box of old ornaments, precious mementos passed down since their grandmother's time, carefully preserved. Yes, but I think less flashy is better, Maggie smiled. I want to decorate carefully with only truly important things. The whole family quietly nodded, seeming to grasp the deeper meaning in those words. Above the fireplace hung Patricia's new business card, Patricia Reynolds, Executive Director, Boston Children's Charity Foundation. She had significantly scaled back her luxury real estate work and chosen a path in child welfare. I can't believe it, Mother Helen said, sitting on the sofa. Patty actually deleted her Instagram. I didn't need it anymore, Patricia shrugged. When you work with underprivileged children every day, showing off starts to seem foolish. The fireplace flames cast soft light around the room. At the dining table, Father Robert faced his laptop with a serious expression. This is troublesome, Father frowned. The budget allocation for this scholarship program. Father, Maggie approached and gently placed a hand on his shoulder. Let me take a look. Robert now truly trusted his daughter's capabilities. Maggie's advice had become indispensable in running the educational foundation he had established. Everyone, dinner is ready. Housekeeper Martha announced. The table was set with food that wasn't flashy but was filled with warmth. There was genuine comfort there, different from luxury restaurant course meals. When I think about last Christmas, I'm really embarrassed, Patricia said while pouring wine. Back then, all I cared about was showing off my luxury brand bags. We were all trapped in wrong values, Mother answered quietly. But thanks to Maggie, we were able to realize that. Outside, fine snow had begun to fall quietly. Maggie stood up and tended to the fireplace. Actually, I have something to tell everyone. The family's attention naturally turned to Maggie. From next year, we're going to significantly expand the scholarship program I've been supporting. I want to work with Patty's Children's Welfare Foundation to provide educational opportunities for underprivileged children. Patricia's eyes sparkled. That's wonderful. I'll support it with everything I have. I have a proposal too, Father spoke up. I'd like my educational foundation to participate. If 3 organizations work together, we should be able to create bigger changes. Maggie's eyes welled up with emotion. The family that was once connected only by materialistic values was now strongly bound by common aspirations. Let's make a toast, Mother quietly raised her glass. To our new family bonds. And to Maggie, who taught us true value, Patricia added. The pleasant sound of crackling fireplace flames echoed. The angel atop the tree seemed to smile gently. By the way, Patricia said, seeming slightly embarrassed. I'm starting social work classes at Boston University next week. My goodness! Mother exclaimed in surprise. It's never too late, Maggie smiled kindly. People can change at any time. The snow gradually intensified, turning Boston's cityscape white. In the penthouse wrapped in warm light, A new family story was being quietly but surely woven. Standing by the window, Maggie looked up at the stars in the night sky. Since her revelation in Hawaii 5 months ago, the family had changed dramatically. But it wasn't a forced change. Each person had honestly faced their heart and chosen their own path. Maggie, Patricia approached and gently embraced her sister's shoulders. "Thank you. You taught us what true happiness is." Outside, church bells began to ring softly. The sound of Christmas Eve's arrival gently enveloped the family, now bound by new ties.